everyone. Welcome to the Ladder of Influence video training course.
What's the subtitle of this book, Ria?
5 steps for climbing to the next level and beyond.
Oh, and that's it right here.
Yep.
The Ladder of Influence. To me, when Ria wrote this book, I mean, I'm glad she's got all her other books, and I'm glad we got all of our other books before she wrote this book. But this book really should have been the first one. but it means more because we've got all the other books for people who read this book to go dive into.
Sure. Yeah, so this book really is a framework, right? The Ladder of Influence is a framework for being able to literally increase our influence, both at home and at work. So both personally and professionally. Relationships at home, like our family, our children, our spouse, significant other. And then at work, our teammates, our boss, the people who are reporting to us even. And so it really gives you a practical framework of how you can literally increase your influence in those relationships. Because we all want more influence, right? Life gets better when we have more influence.
A lot better.
A lot better. And realizing that we can intentionally develop ourselves in order to increase our influence is a powerful step of awareness within ourselves to say, hey, I can do things differently and increase my influence with other people. Not in order to manipulate them, but in order to truly, authentically improve the relationship.
That's what our goal is with every book, with every video course, is to provoke thought, raise your awareness. And this one is really, really going to raise your awareness about why you need to get serious about intentionally developing your influence. I mean, it's a great title, The Ladder of Influence. And for the blue collar leadership folks who are our fans, the blue collar people, they spend a lot of time on ladders, some of them.
Well, I love the analogy of a ladder because we can all relate. Just like a real ladder, the ladder of influence, you've got to start at the bottom and you've got to climb to the next step. And climbing is not always easy, right? It's fighting against gravity. But the great thing about leadership principles is that they are principles and they always apply. And just like
what is this ladder of influence?
So I really like to use the analogy or the example of a ladder when we talk about increasing our influence, right? Because I'm a visual person and I like to have an actual visual of what I'm trying to do. Leadership is one of the most dynamic concepts and yet the most simple concepts that any of us will ever be able to consider, right? It's very simple because, as John Maxwell defines, leadership is influence. And that's very simple. Leadership is influence. It's a very simple definition, but leadership itself is incredibly dynamic. Influence is very dynamic because people are dynamic. Situations are always changing. Other people are always changing. Hopefully we're always changing and growing. And as everything is different, everything is changing all the time because it's dynamic. The situations and people are dynamic. The things that we need to literally do and who we are as a person is going to impact what we do and how we do it. And what we need to do and how we need to do it is going to change based on what the situation calls for.
So the first step on the ladder of influence is the control of self step.
So control of self shows up in so many different ways relative to feelings. Setting your alarm clock before you go to bed so that you wake up in time to go to work the next morning. But then the alarm clock goes off and you feel like, man, I didn't get enough sleep, or man, this bed feels good, I don't want to get up. Someone hit the snooze button. And then I hit the snooze button again. And then I hit the snooze button again.
And then you sleep through it.
And then you sleep through it.
For 30 minutes.
And that's an example of your feelings were not good leaders in that moment. Because then you're late for work and you lose some influence with your boss or your teammates, or probably both. So this shows up in so many different ways.
So we talk about emotions being bad leaders.
Yep.
Back when I was a frontline entry-level factory worker, way back in the 1900s, the old days, man, I stayed in trouble all the time. I was a high performer, which kept me my job, but my emotions got me in trouble. I got into arguments with my coworkers. I got into arguments with the leadership. I got in arguments with the engineering people, the supervisors, the managers. I got into it with everybody because I couldn't control myself well. Sometimes I could, but most of the time I didn't. I've learned now I could anytime, but most of the time back there I didn't choose to because I didn't understand what we're going to teach you in this book. I held myself back for a lot of years because I couldn't control myself.
Yeah, I see that, mastering control of self really is about control of self relative to self. It's a me and me thing. Now, absolutely, that impacts others and indirectly impacts my influence.
It'll help you.
But at the second step, when we start to talk about character development, we start to talk about a me and you mastering my character and especially how I relate and interact with you.
Yeah. So the first step, looking in the mirror, how do I impact my own life and indirectly others, but really the focus is on me. And now we shift to looking out the window. How does who we are impact other people, our relationships with other people, personally and professionally, our ability to really achieve success at a high level with and through other people, right?
Yep.
So chapter 14, we made it up to the third step on the ladder of influence. Chapter 14, the third step, influence based on competency development. Work on.
Right.
This is where a lot of people start, right here.
It is. And some of that I think is just, as a society, we talk about competency is going to get you ahead in life. And we did already share the statistic, right? Most of our success in life and our influence comes from our character development, about who we are.
87%.
How we do what we do, not just what we know how to do.
Think of a pro athlete who's got all of this, and they got it at that crazy maximum level that allowed them to become a pro athlete. They got all the competency. That's why they're a pro athlete. That's why they're making the millions of bucks. But I promise you, if you're a sports fan, no matter which sport, you've seen somebody fall from the top. They fell off the ladder. It wasn't because of those talents, abilities, skills, and knowledge. It was something to do with their character.
Yeah.
And some of them make such a bad character choice that it doesn't matter about all those. They never get to do that again. They lose their opportunity to be a professional athlete. Never going to happen again, even though they have all the competency and have proven themselves and have a track record, but they still don't get to do it because of their character. In chapter 19, we made our way up to the fourth step. We've been loading you up with some good stuff. Fourth step, chapter 19, influence based on, in your notes, you got a blank here, based on commitment to developing others.
Yep.
So the first three is really developing ourselves so that we'll be very, very well positioned to develop others. You want to be highly valuable, position yourself as a developer of other people. You imagine I can just do the job. Ria can do the job at a high level, but she also can develop other people to do the job at a high level. Which one of us is going to be worth the most? Pretty obvious. Which one of us is going to get paid the most? It's pretty obvious. Which one of us is going to have the most opportunities in life? Pretty obvious. Which one of us is going to have the most influence within our profession? Pretty obvious. That's what those first three steps are, to get you up here as an individual so that you can move over there and be like what I just described Ria as being.
All right, so letter A. The fourth step on the ladder of influence is where you begin to shift from focusing on your own success to focusing on the success of others.
And we made it up to the fifth step.
We have.
We ain't mastered it yet, though.
Nope.
We just gonna, everything we've been talking about, everything's elevating again.
Yep.
What we've been doing from the beginning. It just another notch higher, another notch higher, another notch higher. You decide how high you want to climb, how often you want to climb, when you're going to climb, where you're going to climb, at home or at work, which relationships you want to throw one of these ladders up between you and whoever. It's a big deal. So chapter 24, fifth step is influence based on contribution of service over time. So it's closely related to the fourth step, but it's much more intentional, much more, it's a lifetime. It's a lifetime of, you master the fourth step, and then you do your best to stay on the fourth step in a big way. Go ahead.
So, letter A, success is about achieving what we want in life. There's nothing wrong with that, but something greater is possible. And letter B, continuing on, some who achieve success will feel the call to move beyond success for themselves and truly become significant in the lives of others. Some will choose to do this for a few others as they work on the fourth step, commitment to developing others. However, some will master the fourth step and then contribute a lifetime of service helping others climb. And continuing on to the blank in your notes, this is how legacy is created. And I think that's the difference, right? Commitment to developing others. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful thing. But when we talk about contribution of service over time, it's a much greater scale.
Yeah, it expands. Like what I like to say is you move beyond your industry. Like for both of us, your background's healthcare administration.
Yep.
Mine's manufacturing. We both started doing this step 4 stuff. You started doing step 4 stuff in the hospital. I started doing step 4 stuff in these lean Kaizen manufacturing and process improvement events. And today we could be speaking to anybody, anywhere, in
often are.
any industry at any level. It's because we kept climbing, and we climbed into the 5th step.